Hi, Taurus, and welcome to your forecast for October 2023. October is eclipse season. We have two eclipses happening, so it's going to be a great growth and learning opportunity. If you do feel like you want some extra support during this time, you're really curious what this personally means for you, then I am giving private 30-minute eclipse readings where we're going to talk about exactly what this time means for you, and the link to book is down below. On the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, we have Mars conjunct the South Node in Libra in your 6th house, and Venus is sextiling them in Leo from your 4th house. Any coping tendencies that you may have around your routine, around the ways that you try and focus too much to make it peaceful, to make it pleasing, to make it beautiful, is all of a sudden starting to bother you. You might have a lot of resentment towards that, and maybe even some anger building up as well. Because Venus is a part of this conversation in your 4th house, take a look if there is anything around your personal relationship, even your relationship to your home, that you can start to get a little bit picky with in order to go beyond and really help yourself establish new routines. Sorry to say, but the month continues and it doesn't get easier. On the 8th and the 10th, Mars progresses through Libra and starts to square Pluto in Capricorn in your 9th house. And at the same time, Venus finally leaves Leo and enters Virgo in your 5th house. As it does this, it starts to oppose Saturn in Pisces in your 11th house. As this relates to your routines and compromising on them, this time and this square with Pluto is going to bring up all of the old traditions that you still think are true around your routines, and especially check if there are any things that you're learning about, because this is in your 9th house, that are sort of forcing you into keeping up the perfect, beautiful routine, whereas in reality, it is not what is serving you. And the conversation between Venus and Saturn in your 5th house and in your 11th house will encourage you during this time to see if there are any ways that you are allowing your love and appreciation for friend group, for the goals, the visions that you have in life, to influence where you are here and now. It's important that these two are balanced, that you're not keeping up a routine that is perfect for this future you when it's not what is serving you right now. On the 14th, we have a big event. We have the solar eclipse in Libra. So for you, this means that you have a lot of planets in your 6th house. We have the Sun, the Moon, Mercury, Mars, as well as the South Node. And all of these planets will be loosely squaring Pluto in Capricorn and also loosely trining Saturn in Pisces. So if any of the lessons that we just talked about you didn't learn, you didn't integrate in the first part of the month, you sort of shoved them under the rug because you didn't want to deal with them, then you might find that on the solar eclipse, there's a big crescendo, a big release, a big event that really forces you to address them. Sorry, but you can no longer pretend these things do not exist. As the month progresses, the planets move along, and on the 21st, the Sun moves so far in Libra that it starts to square Pluto itself. I don't think this day will be as intense as the solar eclipse, and this is because Venus in Virgo will be trining Jupiter in Taurus in your 1st house. Having Jupiter come into the conversation of that we've been having this whole month, of your routines, of where you're trying to keep up a certain image or a certain beautiful illusion with your routines, and when it comes to your body and how you take care of your health. Having Jupiter come into this conversation in your 1st house, you might start to find that you really need to address themes of self-worth, how you identify yourself with your body and with the routine that you keep, and whether that is still serving you. 2 days later, on the 23rd, the Sun enters Scorpio. And as it does that, it starts to trine Saturn in Pisces. So you will find that the shift from your 6th house is now shifting into the 7th house and into your relationship sector. So all of the new things that you learned at the beginning of the month in regards to your body, your health, your routine, might now start to translate into your relationship. Because you changed your routine, because you changed the way you are going to treat your body, it might mean that you need to also change your relationship with others. Perhaps you have a little bit less time for them now. And finally, we have a bit of a break until the 28th. So towards the end of the month, on the 28th, we have a lunar eclipse in Taurus in your 1st house. This can be quite an intense month for you because it's activating your 1st and your 7th house, which are quite important houses. We have Mars, Mercury, and the Sun in Scorpio in your 7th house, opposing Jupiter and the Moon in your 1st house. I see this time as a big self-acceptance period for you, Taurus, realizing some of the things you have realized in the first half of the month about who you are in the day-to-day might mean that you need to adjust the way you see yourself and also adjust the self-worth that you couple with how you show up in your day. And this also has an influence on your relationships. Having Scorpio in the 7th house, it's really asking you to accept that you're not perfect, accept that you do not have a perfect routine, a perfect body, or a perfect health, but still allow yourself to bond to somebody knowing that you're not perfect. This time is really about accepting that you are lovable as a whole person. During this time, you might step a little bit into extremes. It's okay. It's the first time that you're perhaps trying out some new things, so it's going to be trial and error. But you might find that there is a fine balance between Jupiter in your 1st house, I want to put myself first, and having Mars in the 7th. These two might be fighting a little bit, so just make sure that you're kind to yourself and kind to your partner during this time. And finally, we close off the month on the 31st with Venus in Virgo, trining Uranus in Taurus in your 1st house. All of this learning that you've been doing this month about being in the here and now, making sure that you are enjoying your day-to-day life, taking pleasure, not just sticking to some routine because it's the thing that you think will improve your future. This will have a more impact on your self-esteem. Having Uranus in the 1st house for quite a while now, you have been experiencing a lot of ups and downs about who you are and how you show up in the rest of the world. And I finally see this 31st of October as an opportunity to really integrate this living in the moment attitude into who you truly are. So that's your forecast for October, Taurus. You got this. You can do it, even if it feels a little bit difficult. And if you, after listening this, you feel like, oh my God, I want a little bit more personal help. I want to know exactly how my planets relate during this time. Then don't forget, I am giving 30-minute personal eclipse readings. The link to book is down below. We're going to talk about what houses it's hitting for you, what planets it's hitting for you, and as well how this fits into the period of life that you're in right now. So a lot more personal and a lot more detailed. I do these forecasts every month, so if you don't want to miss the one for November, make sure you subscribe. Thanks for joining me, and I hope to see you again soon.